Hello, everyone. This is Chase Harrison, CEO of Alta Labs, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jeff Hansen, CTO of Alta Labs. And we'd like to welcome you to our 8th Alta Labs Live. I can't believe this is already our 8th live session here, Jeff. That's pretty wild. Keep it up. Many more to come in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got some great content for you here today, but before we jump into that, we do typically have some announcements, and we would like to just generally cover a couple of basic housekeeping items. First of all, we do hold these monthly, and if you're unable to join any of them, or if this is your first time joining an Alta Labs live event, and you'd like to see any of our historical Alta Labs live events, they are posted on all of our social platforms. Probably the easiest to find is YouTube, but you're welcome to go check those out. And if you have any questions after that, after viewing that for the first time, you're welcome to email sales@alta.inc. Also, at the end of this live stream, or near the end, once we've got done completing our presentations of our product and the things we've announced, we do open our live events up for question and answer, live question and answer. So you can post your questions on any of the platforms where you're tuning in, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, or YouTube. Also here in StreamYard, and those get aggregated and pushed up into the StreamYard platform, and then we will make sure we get those addressed. If for whatever reason we miss one, or if you come up with a question after the fact, you're always welcome to send us an email. Again, sales@alta.inc, and we'll get those addressed just as quickly as possible. Before we jump into the presentation of the AP6W as well as AltaBoost, we have a couple of announcements. First and foremost, our installer of the month. We have, for those that are unfamiliar with that, it is something we do monthly. We just started back in January. And for the month of May, we'd like to congratulate out of Denmark, IT6W. I've tried to not hurt that announcement or pronunciation, so please forgive me if I did. And for those of you wondering, what does an installer of the month get? I actually have the award for IT6W here. I'll probably bring that to the camera to see if you can't see that, but really fancy, really pretty award, something you can put in your office, right, and show off to your customers. We throw that in a box with a bunch of Alta swag. If you're interested in earning the Install of the Month award, really that's up to you, right? We would love to see you active on socials, sharing your stories, your installs. We also track our sell-through through our distributors, so we're able to recognize and realize when you're selling and purchasing a lot of Alta Labs products. So we'd love to see that and have you active in our community. And that's generally how you are eligible to win the Install of the Month Club or Install of the Month Award. Next, we've got a couple of events in May that we will be attending personally. Actually, Jeff, first of all, will be in Taiwan next week. Actually, on Wednesday, he'll be walking the Computex floor. We will not have a booth there, unfortunately. We decided a little bit last minute to go and attend that. But if you're interested in syncing up with Jeff while he's there in Taiwan at the Computex show, please email sales@alta.inc, and we'd love to coordinate a time where you can meet with the one and only Jeff Hansen. And then the very next week, Jeff and I both will be in CommunicAsia in Singapore. Our booth is 3K as in kilo 1-2. We have a graphic on our newsletter. You can check out our website for that info. And we'd love to have you come check out basically the entire product portfolio. We'll be demonstrating the entire cloud management platform, as well as we'll have our brand new AP6W S48 APOE on display, as well as the rest of the product ecosystem. So please, if you're in Singapore or near Singapore, in about 2 weeks, we'd love to have you come check us out in CommunicAsia. And then finally, we're pretty excited about this, but I'm going to add a little disclaimer here. We're going to soft launch something here just for those who are our loyal Alta Labs live listeners every month. Last month, if you recall, we get a lot of encouragement, right, to start offering or selling swag, right? Alta Labs branded product or Alta Labs branded shirts, hats, hoodies, phone cases, the whole gamut. So generally, if you want an Alta Labs shirt, you've had to have basically come caught us at one of our trade shows, which at CommunicAsia, we will have a bunch of t-shirts. But if you want to get access to Alta Labs swag, we are now, we have just launched, and again, soft launch, right? We're going to put a lot more weight behind this, is we have a chance to get some of the product in and make sure they're happy with quality. But we have partnered with a platform called Redbubble. I'm going to share this actually really quick so you can see it. And if I can ask Rob or Landon to put the link into our social platforms here as we're talking about this, you can actually come in and buy some branded swag right now. Actually, this drop ships anywhere in the world. It's a just-in-time platform. We don't do the printing ourselves, obviously, but this company does. We've given them rights, loaded up all of our logos and approved some designs. We are, again, waiting for our samples to show up and make sure we're happy with the quality and what we've picked. So again, proceed with caution. Once we're through the soft launch period and we're happy with the quality and everything else, obviously we'll announce that more formally globally. But for now, just as kind of a special salute to our Alta Labs live listeners, you're able to jump in here. It's a little confusing how you navigate it first. These are the different logos, and then you can drill in and pick different things with these logos. So for example, if I like this logo here, I could drill into this and, oh, excuse me, that's just the shirt. Sorry. Even now I'm still trying to figure it out. Over on the left side, you can grab sweatshirts and hoodies. Looks like we're doing, that's not even right, Landon. Maybe we should probably change that from dresses to hoodies. But anyways, I saw some phone cases in there, mouse pads. I know we're doing some stickers. I really like some of these hoodies, but again, we're trying to keep the cost as low as possible, make it super accessible for anybody who wants some branded merch. And again, if you can order this and have it drop shipped from anywhere in the world. It does take a couple weeks as it's just in time. They take your order, create it, and ship it off. So we're excited about that. And special thanks to our marketing team for pushing to get this done in the last 30 days. And that is it for our announcements. So we're going to go ahead and turn the time over to Jeff, our CTO, for some information on the AP6W as well as our new AltaBoost, which we launched last week. So Jeff, if you want to go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Chase. Yeah, excited to be here. So we're showing off our new AP6W platform, our new product. So this is a 2x2 on both bands, so 2 gig and 5 gig access point. It's optimized for an in-room, smaller coverage like apartment building, MDU, kind of those kinds of spaces. So we have it right here. There's a tiny picture of it there, but it's in and it's live in this site. So, I mean, if you've used our platform before, you'll see that there's a lot of commonalities in the user experience here for configuring it. So obviously we show the name, IP address, the load. You can see the Wi-Fi channel, how much it's being utilized. So all of that real-time data that makes it very easy to diagnose and figure out maybe why the Wi-Fi is going slow or something like that. You can get all that data here live in real time. Let's see, and then we have the actual dialog right here for the on-wall. So as with all other Alta Labs access points, you can configure it. You can use auto channel. So what this does is all of the APs gather all their information. They figure out what channels are best. And this is especially important for these types of access points because there's so many of them typically that are installed in a site. They're installed in a very dense manner typically. And so it's very important to make sure that you get the channel optimization correct. And so generally we recommend using the auto channel algorithm that we have. It's built in and free as part of our access points. So it'll even choose, the bandwidth automatically for you based on the density of the other access points that it sees in the area. We have our colors, so you can obviously, very easily manage a group of access points using the colors, and those just align with the SSIDs. So if you have a certain area like a lobby, you can give the lobby a certain color. You can give all the rooms a certain color. You can give the venue a different color, and make sure that those SSIDs are only broadcast in those certain areas. So it's very easy to change that as well. You can also adjust the transmit power. I typically recommend, just leaving it and seeing how it goes with the site survey. But in the case you do need to adjust it, you can actually go in and give it a high, medium, low, or a manual transmit power in dBm. So that's the Wi-Fi settings for each of the access points. We also have the settings, and you'll notice that this is kind of a hybrid. So on our other access points, we have, on switches, you're kind of familiar with this user interface. So there's 3 ports on the AP6W, Ports 1 and 2 are the left and right ports on the bottom of the physical access point. And then port 3 is the port on the back. So if you're confused as to why there's 3 ports here, that's what they are. So 1 and 2, and they're labeled on the bottom, 1 and 2, and then the back is labeled 3. So you can see, and this is also a combination of the software running. So the on-wall access point, the AP6W, is not just a Wi-Fi access point, but it is also a switch. So that's why this user interface is kind of a hybrid. So you'll see some elements of switch analytics. So you can see all the MAC addresses that this switch sees on this port. You can also see, what VLANs are tagged on each port. So with our user interface, it's very easy to manage. So if you want to go in and focus on a certain VLAN, you just choose it, and you can see that VLAN 10, this is just an example, would be tagged on all of these different ports. And then if I switch back to the default VLAN of 1, you can see that that back port on the physical unit is untagged. So any traffic that comes in and out of that port would just be natively, VLAN 1 or not tagged at all. You can, just with all of our other access points and switches, you can set it to DHCP or static. You can adjust a management VLAN in case you want to isolate all of your network infrastructure onto its own segregated space for security or other reasons. This has the failback upon failure option. So what that does is, let's say you accidentally set the static IP address incorrectly. That would make it unconfigurable in the cloud. But what failback upon failure will do is that it will go ahead and reset back to VLAN 1 DHCP and try to maintain that connection with the controller just in case a mistake is made there. So that's kind of nice and helps you avoid having to travel out to the site just in case something's misconfigured. We also have the always on feature. This is by default on, but if you do want the ability to have the access point stop broadcasting SSIDs in case it can't reach the internet, there are cases where that is useful. You can actually turn off the always on, and then it will shut off the SSID in the case that the access point loses connectivity. All of the AP6W access points also support the mesh feature. So this is similar to how it's done with our other access points. If the access point can't reach the internet, it can't reach its gateway on its wired interface, then it will go ahead and try to find some other access point, some other Alta Labs access point on the same site to mesh with. And this uses our proprietary mesh loop detection technology that makes sure that loops basically never happen. So we have multiple strategies that we have that make sure that when it's meshing, it doesn't storm the network per se. The other cool thing about the AP6W is, and this is a first, is it does have a DC jack, a DC port, and that allows you to, if you want to, you can actually, it can be totally isolated and totally meshed with just DC power on the bottom. So if you don't want to run a cable, or you can't run an RJ45 either with PoE in the back or on the bottom, then you can actually power it using DC on the bottom, and then it would automatically mesh. So there are cases where, and it looks nice, so you can actually set it up and put it on a wall and then power it that way as well. This is a device that has a new feature that we haven't done yet, and that's called PoE pass-through. Now this is passive pass-through, 48 volts. So, and that's why we have this warning right here. So you do want to be careful. By default, the PoE pass-through is not enabled because it can damage networking equipment and other things. So you do want to be careful what you plug this into when you turn on the PoE pass-through. Make sure that it is a device that is capable of handling 48 volts on those PoE lines. So right now you have to turn it on one at a time. We will have the option very soon to be able to select multiple and enable PoE pass-through on, for example, a whole slew of devices. Let's say you're doing a hotel or an MDU, and you don't want to have to be able to turn on the PoE pass-through for every single device, for every single IP phone or whatever that you're plugging into each AP on the bottom. You'll be able to adjust those all very quickly. They have the ability to change their LED. So we have options of white, blue, and off. We have a temperature reading here, and this was added to the user interface for all access points. But we have, and you can choose between Fahrenheit, Celsius, and that gives you an idea of how hot it's getting. We will have, some guidelines on what is considered too hot. This is actually physically inside the access point, so it's going to be quite a bit hotter typically than ambient temperature. So don't get worried if it's saying 156 Fahrenheit. This is actually pretty typical of an access point that's running at room temperature. That temperature, that junction temperature of the chips on the actual board are generally much higher right inside the access point, and that's okay. You can move the AP to another site, and then this is typical of all of our other switches. So you're able to look at the per port traffic, and yeah, that's also available here. So if you do a speed test or something like that, you'll see this jump up, and you can tell which ports have traffic and which don't. Let's see. You also have, just similar to our other products, we have the location. So this is SNMP location. So when it reports, all of our access points and switches support, and our router supports SNMP. If you want to specify the location attribute within SNMP, you can go ahead and put that in here. And then also we have the ability to reboot the access point if you want to remotely. It obviously needs to be connected to the controller currently in order to actually do that. If you do have an access point that isn't connected to the controller, but you do have a PoE switch that's configured on some site, you can also reboot it through the PoE power cycle as well, of course. So multiple ways to reboot it if you need to. As with all other Alta Labs access points, we have the ability to do scans. And the really cool thing about all of our access points is you can do the scan in real time, live. It does not impact the traffic. So this AP is actually serving up clients currently. And I can do a scan and it doesn't impact their traffic. They can stay connected throughout that whole scan, but I also can still, take a look at the environment, see what the SSIDs are that are out there, BSSIDs, the channel, the bandwidths, and the signals. And that helps me to determine, what the best channel would be for this access point. So that's kind of a whirlwind tour of the AP6W. We do plan on bringing out more features as time moves along. So if you look at the port settings, this user interface, if you've used any of our switches, is very familiar. It doesn't have, obviously, quite as many options. So there's things like loop detection, let's see, IGMP snooping. I mean, there's a few features that we're still working on that we will launch very soon. We're actively working on those right now. But as far as like a standard access point that can light up a building with lots of Wi-Fi and an MDU space, it's ready to go with our basic feature set out the gates. So yeah, you can set the mode. You can set, we have the port color that's very similar to all of our other Alta Labs switches. You can set the native VLAN on each of the ports, and you can also, either allow or deny certain VLANs to be accepted on this port. So yeah, hopefully we have some questions coming about this product, and we'll answer them shortly. Do you have anything else that you think we need to cover, Chase?
There are some questions we'll definitely get to, so thank you everyone for the questions. But as far as availability and channel, right, we are in mass production now. That'll wrap up here in the next week or two, and then we will have that obviously en route to our distributors globally. So you'll start seeing those arrive in channel probably the earliest very end of May, but more than likely be the first week of June. I know that they are. Our distributors are actually taking pre-orders for those. Most of our distributors have their orders in with us, so we'll be trying to fulfill those obviously on a first come first serve basis. So if you have a project or interested in getting your hands on those, please get your orders in to our distributors so you can make sure you get your first place in line. So again, that's in channel. We're hoping first week of June, probably second week of June for sure in channel. But in some markets, right, some of our distributors that manage to get the orders in very early may see them as early as the end of this month. So
cool.
That's all I'd add, Jeff.
All right, yeah. So we'll continue on with our planned schedule. We wanted to talk a little bit more about AltaBoost, and we launched AltaBoost last month, which is our free carrier offload solution. And what AltaBoost allows you to do is, I'll just show you really quickly how to turn it on. If you have any of our access points, you just go into the controller on the cloud controller. You go to settings, you go to the SSIDs, so our Wi-Fi settings, and you just, there's now multiple options. So we've been partnered with Extent in the past, still partnered with them. Now we have another partner, Wi-Fi Wireless, that we're offering our new product AltaBoost through. So if you have spotty cell coverage, if you know that you know people are complaining in your building, this is typically in large indoor buildings, warehouses, spaces where cell coverage just doesn't quite cut it. You can offer this, and it's totally free with Alta Labs access points, and it's by far the easiest way to deploy carrier offloading that I know of. It's a simple button. You just hit Add AltaBoost. You can change the SSID name if you like. You can also just leave it as AltaBoost, and then that's pretty much it. You just hit save. So there are other options for security. We turn on what's our internet network type. We've talked about that in the past. That isolates all of the clients. These are random people that are coming onto your network, and so you need to make sure that they are isolated from other clients that might be on your network. So we have the internet network type that's applied automatically. If you do have multiple VLANs on your site and you're using a Route 10, it's very easy. You can actually put this SSID on a separate VLAN on its own, and you just mark that VLAN as isolated and in the Route 10 settings, and that will make sure that all those AltaBoost clients are on their own VLAN away from the network, and they can't reach any of your other infrastructure. So super easy to set up as far as that goes. We actually have AltaBoost running right here. This is SVT headquarters. So let's see. That's how you set it up. So I wanted to go over, we've been working on our knowledge base article for AltaBoost. Made a ton of changes to it over the last month, just because there's so many questions coming in and so many people with interest in how to actually pull this off. So yeah, I mean, it does depend on where you're at. You want to make sure that you deploy this in areas where there is poor cell coverage. If you already have good cell coverage, the carriers aren't going to offload. But there are definitely plenty of places that do have poor cell coverage where this makes a huge difference. So if you go to the knowledge base article here called AltaBoost, you go to help.alta.inc, and then if you search for AltaBoost, this is what comes up. And what's cool is you can actually go through, and we have prepared with our partner Wi-Fi Wireless a verified networks list. So if you click on this right here, it takes you to this Google Sheet, and these are all of the verified global free tier AltaBoost partners. And so these are ones that you would get out of the gates with AltaBoost, and they're totally free. It automatically roams to these networks when you're signed in. If your phone has a SIM card or something like that's approved on these networks, it will automatically roam to these. Now, we don't publish the actual carrier, but if you want to look that up, it's very easy. You can go to the data sources, and I've already pulled this up on my other tab, but I like to look at mcc-mnc.com. So what you do is you take a look at the MNC and the MCC numbers. So let's just, as an example, let's look at this one right here. MNC 310, MCC 410. Okay. So I'm going to search for 310 right here, and it goes ahead, and you can see the MCC 310 and MNC 410 is AT&T. And so if you want to know exactly which carriers are supported in your country or whatever area that you're wanting to offer this in, you can go to this, look up the MCC and the MNC, and look it up that way. There are a lot of other carriers, obviously, that are not MCC, MNC based, like CityRoam, Freedom Fi, Helium, Xfinity. These are all supported, but you don't necessarily look them up because they're not traditional carriers necessarily. And then you can also, it's really cool. You can actually look it up by graph. So we've got this. as part of AltaBoost, the strategy is, obviously to make sure that it is as easy as possible to do carrier offloading with no hurdles. So it's totally free. It's included with every Alta Labs access point, and it's extremely easy to configure. The other thing is there are opportunities where you can actually get paid for offloading your Wi-Fi. And so if we find that your site is a good candidate for paid offload, where the carrier actually pays you, we're working with carriers on this because we're actually, this is a mutual relationship. We're helping them out, they're helping us out. If it looks like a good candidate site for that, we'll actually potentially reach out to you, or you can reach out to us on getting paid, and we can set up a Wi-Fi wireless SSID, very similar to the AltaBoost, where you actually get paid in dollars or currency in order to offload your traffic. And so, yeah, you would want to look at probably this list right here. And we're always, working with different carriers, trying to add more so that we can cover more and more of the world. Yeah, so this is another thing that's just really exciting. We get a lot of questions about it, and hopefully we have enough data here that people can kind of figure out what carriers are supported, what aren't, and if necessary, we can try to make those introductions and reach out to those carriers to help improve in certain areas. Anything else you wanted to cover, Chase?
The only thing I'd say it's probably worth mentioning here is we've gotten some questions, and again, most of the questions we try and plug into the FAQ section of that knowledge base article that Jeff already shared. But one of the more important ones that's kept my desk is, why am I not seeing my 5G or my LTE signal meter increase when AltaBoost is online in my house? And the reality is that's not how carrier offloading works. We're essentially using the Wi-Fi, right, to offload the data traffic from the carrier. And so if you're already on your home Wi-Fi network or your business Wi-Fi network, you're going to be taking advantage of your Wi-Fi calling, right, on your phone, and or your phone's just going to naturally pull the data from your Wi-Fi. Where AltaBoost really helps, right, is for the more transient traffic, right? People that shouldn't maybe necessarily be on your network, like your guests, whether it's guests in your home, guests into your projects, guests in your office that need additional coverage, or guests in your warehouse or large facilities like venues, right? Concert halls, stadiums, arenas, bars, restaurants. We also we can't talk about this on a large scale yet, but we're working with a very large national food chain that has locations across the U.S. And there is some spots here in southern Utah where the coverage just isn't great. It's not great at all, actually. And they have a lot of transient traffic, and they've got AltaBoost deployed to just try and help improve the experience for their customers. And then obviously, that being a business, there is some opportunity for some paid offload there too. So know that when AltaBoost is working, or XNet or Wi-Fi, right, your Wi-Fi icon is what appears without your users having to do anything, right? We're already authenticated with all the major carriers that Jeff just got done talking about. And we just dropped a video on this, actually. As soon as the phones walk within range, they immediately jump on Wi-Fi, and all the data and voice, generally, as long as Wi-Fi calling is enabled, will route over that Wi-Fi connection rather than the poor, LTE, 5G, 4G network. So,
yeah, perfect. Yeah, I just want to mention too, I mean, we've resolved a lot of the barriers as far as like initial configuration. It's extremely easy to turn on. Since AltaBoost does actually support things like open roaming and many carriers, you can actually very easily test it as well. That's also a pain point, right, when you're deploying carrier offload. So if you happen to have like an unlocked phone that doesn't have the carrier profiles automatically loaded, or if the carrier is not supported, it is very easy to just, we have the links on our FAQ here on this article to go ahead, and you can go to the open roaming website and easily install a profile to test it and make sure that it works. But typically, I mean, the funny thing is, right when you turn it on, you will typically start to see users just streaming in. So you'll know when it's working.
Yeah, and if you are, to Jeff's point, right, if you're interested in deploying AltaBoost, right, we have a number of resources, knowledge base, our YouTube channel. We talked a lot about that. If you're interested in seeing if your site's eligible for paid, right? Generally, residential properties are not eligible for paid, but most commercial projects, not necessarily an office building, but bars, restaurants, venues, those are eligible for paid offload. Our sales team would be happy to talk you through that and introduce you to both the Exnet and Wi-Fi teams to see what is the best fit for you, kind of as far as your priority for not only carriers, but if you'd like to have a crypto component available with it, or if not, right, there's straight to cash options with both. We're all about making that very easy for you and your customers. And the good news is, and we were actually just talking to a couple people yesterday about how they're trying this with other some of our competition. They just haven't seemed to figure out how to make it work and be as easy as we have. So kudos to Jeff and the development team, Alta Labs development team, for accomplishing a major milestone, just making this really, really easy. So anything else, Jeff, on AltaBoost or the AP6W before we start going into Q&A?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Fantastic. All right. We have a lot of questions here, so I got to go through and scroll all the way back up to the top here. And let's see if my show function is working. All right. First question from our friend Luke Fong. When will the rack mounts be released for purchase? I think if you go back the last 7 previous all events, Luke, you've asked the same question, and I greatly appreciate it, honestly, keeping us honest on when the delivery date with our rack mount accessory will be. It is, we are seeing a few delays, and this is more from a color perspective. I think I may have shared this last time. We've gotten through all of that. We've approved everything. We are entering mold creation, mass production. I know, Luke, I think you specifically have a project in July that has a hard deadline. So I'm working to try and at least get a handful of pre-production units to us so I can take care of your project. And then we're pushing hard to try and have that out by July. So anyways, I think that was the original time frame. Anyways, it was around the July time frame. So thank you for your question, Luke. And I promise we were pushing hard and fast. We want them in my house, Jeff's house, our office. We get customers everywhere that say, hey, we really need that in order to really put some weight behind the Route 10. So, all right, next question. Let's see. Another one from Luke. What about stickers? I think further down, he sees that you're able to get those through Redbubble. So we do have stickers on the Redbubble site. I'm a big sticker fan too, so want to make sure those are in there. Kobe, gear for photos. I need Jeff's shirt. Never got it. I guess, Kobe, if we owe you a shirt, we will follow up on that one. I'm sorry that we missed out on that one.
You can have it. I'll just take this and ship it right. Yeah, I knew somebody would ask about this.
Yeah, it's a great shirt. Newt, thanks for the support on the community. Absolutely. We live and die on the feedback. So we'll keep that coming. And thank you for being here, a loyal Alta Labs Live supporter. Another question from VJ. Any updates on Wi-Fi 7, please?
Yeah, absolutely. We're still making progress. We have some actual milestones and schedule set for the Wi-Fi 7 project, and it's stacking up to be very similar to what we've presented in past all calls. 2x2 on the 2 gig, 4x4 on the 5 gig for enhanced performance and range, and then 2x2 on the 6 gig. And that, it's still looking like hopefully at the earlier part of Q4, but that's kind of where it's standing right now. And the really cool feature, once again, about this Wi-Fi 7 AP is uses a lower power 10 gig PHY, so we'll be able to do 10 gig speeds, at least on the wired side.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jeff. And thanks, VJ, for the question. It looks like, VJ, your question also was answered by Tony, but just want to make sure in case you didn't see it. As far as Alta Labs available in Sri Lanka, it is available. We have a distributor that's stocking Alta Labs product there. The name of that distributor is Oksana Worldwide. The phone number and the website are available on our where to buy page on alta.inc. So if you have any problems there, obviously Tony, our team, happy to help. VJ, just email sales@alta.inc. Another question from VJ. Can we please see a bigger version of the Route 10 with a screen, please?
Yeah, great comment. We don't have anything planned necessarily for the next model, but I definitely have been considering something a little bit larger, maybe rack mountable, similar hardware specs, but beefed up a little bit more RAM, more storage on the Route 10, maybe a Pro model or something like that. And yeah, hopefully we can get a screen on there as well for easier debugging, easier configuration, it just, it makes the experience a lot better. So yeah, we don't have anything set in stone, but yeah, we definitely would like to do that in the future.
And if there's specific things that you'd like to accomplish with that screen outside of what Jeff mentioned, VJ, we'd love to hear about it too. Something we can keep in mind as we architect the product. Thank you for your question. Another question, Jeff, from user Nikki Luis Ortega regarding the PoE pass-through on AP6W.
So yeah, it is, the pass-through is actually not standard 802.3 AF or AT. Obviously the incoming power, and you can power the AP6W either from the back port, which is port 3, or from the bottom port on the left, which is port 1, which is kind of cool. So you can power it on an incoming power basis from either of those, and that is standard PoE, but then the pass-through itself is just passive. So once you turn it on in the user interface, it just automatically is always on. And that's why you need to be a little bit careful on what you plug into it, because that is 48 volts of hot PoE traffic power coming into that. And the power spec, I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it's 15 watts, but it might be a little bit lower than that. But it basically offers similar power budget to 802.3 AF, but it is passive, so it's not AF output.
Great, thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Nikki, for your question. Another question, Pete meant to actually mention Jeff. He used my name, but he apologized in the next comment. But is this drag and drop or just click down? This came in when you were showing the user interface of the AP6W. I'm assuming that means, Pete, are you asking if we can move the window around in the user interface, maybe? Maybe some clarification there would be good.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, if you can be a little bit more clear on your question. So this is a window that you can move around, just like all of our access point switches and router. You can go ahead and move that if you want to configure a whole bunch of APs at the same time, or switches. It's very easy to do that in our user interface because you have these movable windows that can be anywhere. And then, we're always making improvements to how the scrolling and how the pop-ups come up. And it's very simple, but there's a lot here if you dig down and try to configure things. So hopefully that answers your question, but if not, let us know.
Yeah, it looks like that does. I was just looking through the comments ahead. So great. Thanks, Pete, for the question. And thanks, Jeff, for the answer.
Yeah.
Another user by the name of Jeff. Just passed the 1-year mark with my Alta Labs deployment. I haven't had a single issue. Software update caused problem during that time, or software that didn't cause a problem. So, Jeff, thank you for the great feedback. We
love to hear that. Great name too.
Yeah, for sure. Question from Kevin Cobain. When will the AP6W be available? I saw this come in as we were chatting, but I'll address it again. Right now, generally speaking, right, you'll see most distributors have it first week of June, second week of June. Some distributors will probably see that a little earlier as we try to work through, obviously, the backlog of shipments as we get the product out. So thank you for that. Next question from user Stefano. I really like your product. When we can buy it here in Italy? So Stefano, that's a good question. Actually, we are actively looking for a distributor that is based in Italy. If you have any recommendations, we'd love to take it. We do have other distributors in Europe that can service Italy very easily. We've got a number of them you can find on our Where to Buy page. But if you wouldn't mind, Stefano, email sales@alta.inc. Let us know that you're in Italy and what products you're looking for. And Philip and Dallin can jump right on it and get you some answers on a handful of distributors that'd be happy to help you get your hands on some product. So thank you for that. From user, I'm Piprick. Thanks for being here. I like the avatar. That's awesome. Would these be for sale on Amazon as well? Generally speaking, all of the Alta Labs product portfolio is available on Amazon at retail. There's a lot of questions on why we do that versus why we don't let others do that. And the reality there is we want to make sure retail pricing is being held and respected in the United States. And we have distributors that do it for us internationally as well. So AP6W will be there. Everything else in our product portfolio is there. We do have some, we recently announced, if you're watching our community, some installer focused products. You can learn more by visiting our community on those, right? But that's something we don't have actively available in the retail channels, but generally most of our distributors should have access to those as well. So thanks for the question. I'm Piprick. We'll get those on Amazon as soon as we get ours over from our manufacturing facility. So you'll probably see that sometime in June. Pete, thanks for the positive comments on Wi-Fi being a game changer for MDU. We agree. It's a big deal. Let's see. Another question from Luke Fong. Does AltaBoost work outside the USA? Jeff, you want to take that one?
Yeah, absolutely. If you go to our knowledge base article, and if we can share my screen again, you go to that top link, verified networks list. So there's verified and unverified. These are ones that we have actually tested ourselves and everything's working. And then we have the carrier's master list, which, we aren't able to test absolutely everything, but these are ones where we do have a relationship. We know that if you do connect with an MCC, MNC of this number with this carrier, it should be able to offload there as well. And, if you're in one of these countries and you find that it does work, we'd love to hear it, right? And then we can turn it from a unverified to verified here. And then that will help other users in your countries or areas to know that they can do that in those areas. So it definitely works internationally, especially with these ones that are verified. Obviously, cityroam.jp is Japan, but there's Freedom Fi, Helium Mobile, Xfinity, Open Roaming. A lot of these you have profiles and users who have these profiles installed on their phones where they would internationally be able to roam.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. And thanks, Luke, for the question. Another question from BJ. Any updates on SFP and Ethernet cables and a 12-port leak aggregation, please?
So we don't have any real updates on the SFP or Ethernet cables, but definitely the 12-port aggregation switch. We're calling it our distribution switch. That's coming out very soon. Should be in July sometime, where we go to mass production. So yeah, very quickly making progress on that, on getting that out into the market. And yeah, once again, that's another product we're really excited about. 12 SFP plus ports, each one individually capable of 10 gigabits of traffic. And it's a cool form factor because you can actually stack two of them right next to each other in a 1U space. So if you want to be able to do 24 10 gig ports in a 1U, you just get two of these and put them together.
Super excited about that product. We'll actually be sharing data sheets, pricing, and everything else with the distributors to then turn around and distribute to the markets here in the next couple of weeks. So if you're interested in that product, obviously we'd love to have you get your purchase orders in with our distributors as soon as that's available. So by the next Alta Labs live event in June, we'll have quite a bit more information on timing. It shouldn't change. But as far as when you can expect it from your distributors, and we'll have some announcements about being able to pre-order and stuff. So thanks, VJ. Another question from Todd. Any thoughts on about Alta AP models with low band or high band 5G?
Yeah, so obviously we don't have any AP models that focus specifically on those bands. We wanted to cover all 5 gigahertz with every AP model, but that doesn't just include Uni 1 and 3 with the lower and the upper band. We also have all of our access points supporting Uni 2 and the DFS band as well. And we found that just makes it much more scalable, easier to configure. If you have a whole bunch of APs in a dense space, you just turn on auto channel and it automatically figures out what the optimal channel configuration is for that space. So, I mean, I definitely love to hear your feedback on, if there are some advantages in having an access point that focuses just on each band. But currently, yeah, we just wanted it to be super easy to configure and use the entire 5 gigahertz spectrum for every single AP.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jeff. And Todd, thank you. It's good to see you here. It's been a long time. Next question from our good friend Willie Howe. Actually, this is more of a comment. AltaBoost makes this way easier than anybody else. Willie, thank you for being here, and thank you for the vote of confidence. We agree 100%.
Love to hear it.
Another question from user DN. When is DPI coming for Route 10? IRC, it was supposed to be a Q1 feature.
Yeah, so definitely it's taken a lot longer than originally expected, but it is the firmware support is pretty much completed. So at this point, we're just working on the front end and back end portions. We're also making sure, doing a lot of testing, making sure that introducing this onto the routers does not introduce any instabilities. We definitely won't release it if that's the case. So we're just doing our final testing on the firmware support as well. But it is very similar implementation to what's solid and proven and tested on our access points, just at a little bit larger scale, obviously, because we're doing 10 gigabits of traffic and potentially thousands of clients. So as far as the time frame, hopefully in the next couple weeks. I'm trying to be careful, but it's definitely coming very soon.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, we're anxious to get that out ourselves. User DN, we're pushing hard. It's not like we don't want to. We'll get it out as soon as we can, for sure. And thank you for your patience.
Yeah.
User VJ again would like to give a shout out to the What's Inside family for using Alta Labs. That is, we've been working on that behind the scenes a little bit. We are fortunate enough to have the Markham family here in our hometown, St. George. So we do appreciate our relationship with those guys. There'll be more, I think, a few more videos that they drop. If they've been teasing that already, that's exciting. We knew that was coming here very shortly. So it's a good family, and those guys are incredible as far as YouTube content and the stuff the insight into the community, the tech they have and have access to. It's awesome. So thanks for bringing that to attention, BJ. Another question from user Kevin Cobain. AltaBoost can allow customers to see printers on the network?
Yeah, great question. You can actually do that using our network types. So if you wanted to be able to support this, you need to make sure they're on VLANs that can see each other. If you're using MDNS forwarding between the VLANs, you would want to make sure that MDNS is enabled between them. That's typically how printers are found, right? Is through MDNS. And then also all you need to do, so you need to make sure your printer is set to the network type IoT. So the printer side would need to be Wi-Fi, a Wi-Fi IoT network type printer. And then you set up your AltaBoost SSID as a guest network type. So by default, the network type for AltaBoost is internet. So obviously it can't talk to anything on the LAN. But if you set it to guest, that unlocks the ability for your Wi-Fi clients to be able to talk to devices that are IoT network type on the Wi-Fi. So yeah, you can do it, and that's how you do it. So yeah.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Kevin. Actually, another question from Kevin. Can the AP6W receive PoE on the rear port?
Yes, for sure. I mean, that's typically how we expect most people to power it, is on the back port. But you can also power it on the bottom from port 1 as well.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Jeff. Felix coming in from Canada. Good to see you here. Felix, thank you for being here. Any updates on switches, 48 ports and 12 ports? We touched on those already. The 48 port is will be probably late June, early July before it actually gets to distributors, and then July for sure on the 12 port. Excited for both of those for sure. Next question from Liam Dowds. Which devices allow for AltaBoost?
So yeah, currently any Alta Labs access point can offer AltaBoost for free. Yeah, you just go into the user interface, turn it on an SSID, and it automatically configures, and you'll start seeing offload right away with any of our access points.
Yep, great. Thanks, Liam, for the question. Luke, we got this one already. Updates on DPI for Route 10. That's coming quick. User Say Young from Singapore. Good to see you, Say. Excited to see you here in a couple weeks in CommunicAsia. When will Alta Labs launch 10 gigabit Ethernet with SFP Plus, e.g. S8 PoE-10G?
Yeah, so I mean, this is covered kind of with the it's called S12. That's our aggregation switch that has 12 SFP plus 10G slots. And so, yeah, I mean, you could use there's no PoE on that because they're all SFP ports. But yeah, you can definitely handle 10 gigabits per port through an SFP form factor of all your transceivers.
Wonderful. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Say, for being here. It's I think you should probably be asleep, Say, so you can watch this when you wake up in the morning. Felix, thanks for the support as always. We appreciate it. We're excited that Felix will also be receiving some of our new products review on his YouTube channel, so we'd encourage everyone to go check those out. He is based in Canada, obviously. let's see. Pete, thanks for all the compliments on AltaPass and everything else. Greatly appreciate your support. Thanks for being here. Next question from Nicholas Carlson. Is there a product page for the AP6W or location on the Alta Labs website for products in development or early access or testing? So good question, Nicholas. Thank you for that. We are working on getting the product page for AP6W out soon, probably in the next week or two. The data sheet's available, and that's something that Jeff's got pulled up here. We can get that up. We can actually probably share that, Rob and Landon, if you want. But then as far as the website itself, I know that Rob and our website team are working on that pretty tirelessly, trying to get that out probably sometime next week. But we'll certainly keep you posted on when that's live. As far as products in development or early access or testing, products in development, we keep that pretty close to the chest unless it's something we've talked about in the Alta Labs live event. At that point, right, it's pretty much fair game. We don't generally publish our roadmap, though we've been talking about it. And then early access or testing, if you are an active member of our community, we generally pick from those users to test our gear. So on the AP6W, we've already chosen our testers, and they've already received those units, and they're actively providing feedback, right? Stress testing, working to various deployments. But if you're interested, obviously, please join our community and let us know there, right? If you're interested in being a tester, right, of early access products, we're always looking for them. We love guys to come in and really try and push our product limits, try different things, connecting new clients, new devices, just to see if there's anything that we've missed, right? So that we can make sure that's ready in time for full production development. But anything there, Jeff, you'd like to add?
No, I think hopefully the data sheet can answer most of your questions, and we'll have more coming very soon on the website.
Sure. Great. Thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Nicholas. User the analog guy, again, thank you for being here. Great support. Love to see the comments. It keeps us going. So keep those coming.
I've played a few games on those analog TVs.
Yeah, that's great. Let's see. User Matus Paris. I hope I didn't hurt that name. Are you doing some certifications right now? And it's can be possible to get to know, configure devices, etc. in Poland or Europe. Get some devices for tests. So we certify all of our products, right? We have a website that is dedicated to supplying regulatory information that you can get access to. You just jump to alta.inc, and I think it's in the footer. It's called compliance or regulatory. But as far as devices for testing, if you are in Poland, we have a distributor there in Poland that we can get you in touch with, Matthias, that will allow you to purchase like the NFR kit, right, which is a discounted product for first-time businesses trying to get a handle on product, and just to test our gear. And then ongoing, obviously, be a good relationship for you to set up. So if you could email sales@alta.inc, both Dallin and Philip can get you plugged into our Polish distributor. So let's see. Next question from Willie, actually. Will the aggregation switch be layer 2 or layer 3?
Yeah, so great question, Willie. At initial launch, we'll have all the layer 2 features ready to go. This chipset does, however, support some layer 3, some light layer 3 options like layer 3 routing, DHCP proxy, and things like that. So those will be probably post-launch, though. But yeah, I mean, at launch, it'll be layer 2 for the most part. But there will be some other layer 3 features coming.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. And thanks for the question, Willie. Next question comment from Newt regarding your 8-port switches. We've had some poor experiences with other 8-port switches, particularly Unify, so we generally avoid using switches of that size. Could you share what scale of deployment your 8-port switches is intended for? I've noticed that in smaller setups, it seems to run reliably at around 30 to 50% system load. Yeah, so great question. We do offer real-time statistics on each of our switches, and that's why you'll see that pretty much the minimum CPU load for any of the switches is about 30%, and that's across the board. S8, the S24 is a little bit beefier processor, so its baseline is maybe a little more around 20%, but it's all those real-time statistics that make up that CPU, and
Yeah, I mean, as far as the scale of deployment, I mean, it has MAC table for 4K devices. We're always improving the firmware and making it work in larger and larger networks. There are some networks, that we found that we're working with customers on that the CPU does get bogged down by. I mean, you're talking like thousands of broadcast frames per second that are always coming in, and so in those types of networks, we are making improvements. And if you're interested in trying out, test firmwares that help with those situations, just reach out to us, and we're happy to let customers try firmwares that help it scale into even larger networks. So you should be able to plug it in and use it in any large network. But like I said, there are some corner cases where if you're seeing thousands of packets a second on broadcast or multicast, it can inundate the S8 CPU. But we do have a solution for that is, we're trialing it right now for those situations.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Newt. I'm catching back up here on which ones are questions and not. So here's the next one from user Frederick Tornell. Just got my Route 10 yesterday. I'm full Alta Labs now. It's great. Thank you for your support, Frederick. Any chance that the GUI will get some more love soon?
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. So we're always improving the graphical interface. If there's something in particular that you feel is lacking or needs to be covered, you can head over to our forum.alta.inc and make a feature request. That's where we get a lot of the ideas and things that come in as our, that's our kind of our fire hose for development planning and figuring out what needs to improve. So we definitely pay a lot of attention and are very meticulous about the user interface. But we know it's not perfect. I don't know that it's ever going to be perfect, but we definitely want to continually improve it as we go along. We're always rolling out updates.
Agreed. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Frederick, for the question support. Follow-up question, comment from Todd Vasco. I think 5G AltaBoost millimeter wave AP I meant.
I see. Yeah, we don't have any plans to do anything outside of the standard Wi-Fi bands. So 2 gigahertz, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz, anytime real soon. But yeah, I mean, never say never, but yeah, nothing like that right now.
Great. Thanks, Todd, for the follow-up question. A follow-up question for user DN. Thanks for the DPI update. Any consideration for making a beta channel for users to test DPI before it hits the masses?
Yeah, I mean, so if you really want to test DPI and you're willing to live with maybe a less stable network, just reach out to us on the forum, and we're happy. You would need to invite us to your site, and we can install some test firmware, release candidate or beta firmware. Yeah, as far as a broader beta program, we're always talking about it, considering it. Haven't done anything final yet, but we are very lenient on what firmwares we install. As long as you install add us to your site, we're happy to let you try out new features that are coming.
Absolutely, love to have it. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, user DN. Let's see, another question from Kevin. What is the difference output power of the AP6W compared to the AP6 Pro?
Let's see. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd need to look it up. I think it's in the data sheet. Yeah, so 20 dBm. So that's 23 dBm combined on the 2 gigahertz. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sharing the data sheet. If you look near the bottom, there's max transmit power. So you can see 20 dBm at 2 NSS for 2.4 gigahertz and the same for 5 gigahertz, 20 dBm.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Kevin. Let's see. Next question from Willie. Are your products NDAA compliant? I'm happy to report that, yes, Willie, our products are NDAA compliant. We actually have shared that on our trust site, I believe, and we have a letter that states that as well. So we talk about our auditing process there and what we do to make sure our products remain NDAA compliant. And right now, everything in the product portfolio is NDAA compliant and will be into perpetuity. So Thank you for that. And if you want more information, well, you can shoot me an email. I'll be happy to get you some more info there. From user Nicholas Carlson, for early access or testing, are there restrictions to sharing findings via media like YouTube, or is that a case-by-case basis? Would assume would require permissions review via the forum first. Yeah, generally, as far as any early access stuff, right, we provide a list of tests that we'd like to have you focus on and do, right? And obviously any additional testing is great. If you do have any findings, we ask that you share that with us internally first so we can confirm the issue and work to resolve that. Obviously, that's kind of the purpose, right, of early access, beta release type, early adopter stuff. So, but outside of that, right, after we're in full production, I mean, you're welcome to share anything you want on YouTube and everything else. So, Jeff, anything you want to add to that?
Not really. I mean, we do love people sharing stuff on our forums for sure, and YouTube. Yeah.
Yep. Next question from user Say about Route 10. Is there a way to dim the LED lamps of the Alta Labs logo?
So there is no way to dim that. You can choose a different color. So there are various colors that are selectable in the user interface. But if it's too bright, yeah, I mean, you also have the option to just turn it off. So yeah, that's kind of the options. So if you go to system, if you want to change the switch or router, this is including the Route 10, you can change it to a different color that's maybe not so bright. It is RGB, so and we do have the ability to, I mean, it's not officially supported, but we do have the ability to run scripts after configuration, and you can change it to, it's an RGB LED controller, so it can pretty much be changed to anything. These are just the options that we allow right now, but I mean, we have considered allowing you to type like a hex value in here as well. But if you wanted to do that right now, you would have to do it with the script.
It's actually interesting, Jeff, that you're talking about that. We've got actually a couple of users on our forum and even on Reddit that have asked the ability to just set it so it cycles, so it breathes like consistently, right?
Yeah, it's a cool controller. We love it. The breathing effect when it turns on, I think is really cool. But yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Say, for the question. Oh, I immediately jumped to Jorge. Jorge, thanks for being here all the way from Spain. Appreciate the support on the AP6W. We're excited for it in the hospitality space too. We see that being a major mover there. Actually, we've actually got it queued up already in some large hospitality projects. We know that's gonna do well. Another question from Newt: is it possible to enable or disable IDS and/or IPS individually?
So I mean, we use a tool called Suricata. That's what's running on the Route 10, and I mean it can do both, obviously. The only options that we have currently are the ability to either block or not block, and you can also set the severity. So if it detects something that's in the low, medium, or high severity, it can go ahead and detect that, but then you can choose whether or not to block that. If there's anything in particular about an IDS or IPS specific feature, we definitely love to hear what those are, and if Suricata, we can definitely share notes and figure out how to make that available in the interface.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff, and thanks, Newt. From Jason's lab in Canada, thanks for being here, Jason. SNMP on the switches V2. Yeah,
so definitely we support SNMP V1, 2, and 3 on all of our Alta Labs products, including the switches. And if you have any questions on how that works, or if it's not working for you, we'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jeff. And thanks, Jason. Good to see you here. Let's see. This looks like that may be the last question. So thank you again for all of your participation. We'll get this brought up and get answered. From user Nicholas Carlson, is there a chance of point-to-point or point-to-multi-point hardware on the roadmap, or at least a desire to create at some point? It would be nice to have options for connecting remote structures that may be beyond 300 feet, or in cases where wireless is a cheaper option to laying wire and keep all devices inside the ecosystem, the same brand for ease of monitoring.
Yeah, so I mean, we have some relationships. We've been working on this. Don't have anything concrete that we can share yet, but there definitely are some chances that we'll get something like that out in the next. I mean, it would probably be at least next year, but maybe early next year. We'll see. But it's definitely something that's been very highly requested. And yeah, so definitely something that we are missing in our portfolio. Like, to your point, I mean, there are a lot of cases where you can use an AP6 Pro outdoor, as long as it's 100, 200 feet, relatively close, in kind of a point-to-point scenario. It will work. It works very well. I have customers doing that. But yeah, once you go beyond that 200-300 foot range, its antenna just isn't built for that directionality. So yeah, we are considering it for sure, but nothing concrete that we can say right now.
Very good. Great. Thanks, Nicholas, for the question. And Jeff, thanks for the answer. And I would echo Jeff on the point-to-point, point-to-multipoint. It'd probably be more point-to-point, but it's something that comes up regularly. So it's definitely a priority for us to look at. That's it for the question and answer. Jeff, anything else you'd like to discuss or talk about before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'm good. Just really appreciate all the activity, everybody joining us today. Really love hearing all of your feedback and working with you on the forums with our sales guys. Yeah, thank you everybody for sticking with us.
I agree. Yes, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for being here, everyone. Thanks for your time. I know some of you are joining late evening or early morning or middle of the night, and that speaks volumes to us. We appreciate all the positive comments, the feedback. And again, this is recorded, right? So you're welcome to here shortly. You'll be able to share this with friends, family, loved ones, your distributors, your customers, right? If there's any questions regarding our products, they're always welcome to email sales@Alta after they've had a chance to view this. We will hold our next Alta Labs live event in June. We'll get that announced probably the next week as far as what date that will be. But in the meantime, thank you for being Alta Labs fans. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, everybody.